Hey Bailey Bill, how you doing this morning? Good to see you. People on Instagram, good to see you this morning. Yes, yes, yes. So glad to see y'all back on another Monday. Happy Monday, y'all. Get my headset right. All right. All right. It is just about time. It's just about the top of the hour. Getting ready to rock and roll this morning. You know what? I forgot my water. Oh my gosh. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it through the show. All right. Yeah. And here we go. Bam. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Monday Mindset Movement. I'm your buddy, your friend, your host, Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me, and we are getting ready to rock and roll with our show. 15 minutes of elevation, motivation, and inspiration designed to get you rocking and rolling through your week. So glad that you're here. Bailey Bill, thanks for joining me on Instagram. Perfect Place, thanks for joining me on Instagram. I'm seeing a Facebook person. They are just Facebook user, but good morning to you too. All right. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Bill. Good morning, Chip. All right. Good to see you. Hey, Francine. Good to see y'all this morning. Good to see everybody this morning on the show. I'm glad. Already making deals since 5 a.m., says somebody. I like it. I like it. Fantastic. Hey, Stefan Com. Good to see you this morning. So here's what we're going to be rocking and rolling with today. So the caption says, are you feeling like an imposter? Do you have the syndrome? Is this even a real thing? And how do you find the cure? Well, we're going to talk about it this morning. Do me a favor. Do me a favor. If you want to get in touch with me, go to getintouchwithrk3.com. If you want to get connected with some of the stuff that we're doing, if you're a real estate agent and you want to get better on video, get connected with us by going to rk3live.com/VSB beta. We're doing a beta cohort in the next few weeks where we're going to be taking real estate agents through video. But let's jump in this morning. Here are the questions that I've got for you. Yeah, have you ever felt unworthy of attention? Well, guess what? We're going to talk about that a little bit this morning. Let's get rocking and rolling. Let's do it. All right. Let's get going. For those of you that are here, so glad that you're here. My team, my people, Nathalie Gregg. Ooh, good to see you. Saskia, what's going on, my friend? That's my coach, Doris J. Good to see you this morning. The Perfect Place Beauty Spa. Good to see y'all this morning. So let's get rocking and rolling today with our show. I wanted to talk this morning really about this thing that some of us know as imposter syndrome. I don't know if you have ever felt what we call imposter syndrome. If you have felt it, go ahead and type me in the chat, right? All right. Go ahead and type me in the chat if that's something that you've ever felt. I was having a conversation with a friend this weekend. I was a part of a conversation, and somehow the topic of imposter syndrome came up, right? And one of the things that were surprising to me, I mean, so when I think of imposter syndrome, I think of it as this feeling that people have, feelings of being found out, feelings of being a fraud, or feelings of being caught caught out there naked, so to speak, right? And I was talking to somebody this weekend, and they were talking about they saw something about the myth of imposter syndrome, how it wasn't real. And I said, "What do you mean?" And they said, "Well, a lot of people think about if you think about the word syndrome, a lot of people think about it as a diagnosis or a disease, and I'd never heard that before. I'd never heard that before. I'd always thought imposter syndrome was just kind of another term. It was semantics. It was something else for maybe self-doubt or lower self-image or self-esteem in certain areas. But they were like, no, it's a thing. It's a thing. It's a diagnosis. I mean, doctors are treating people for imposter syndrome. And I was like, what? Really? Because I hadn't heard of this. So I said, let me go over and do some stuff on the interwebs and find out a little bit more about this imposter syndrome thing. Let me find out if this is a thing that people are saying, yeah, I need to go get treated for this thing. So I went to a few different websites. One of the sites that I went was to the Cleveland Clinic website, and I saw Cleveland Clinic. For those of you who have never heard of Cleveland Clinic, go check it out. It's a really well-known institute, a lot of medical research, and they have a lot of great thoughts there. There's a commercial that they have on empathy that I think is fabulous and fantastic. All right, I wish I should have shown it to you. I should have brought it to show it to you today. I think I have it somewhere. If I can pull it up, I'll do that. But so they had this commercial, and the commercial pretty much said, actually, they had this article, and it pretty much said 7 out of 10 adults experience what we call imposter syndrome. And so it went back. I hadn't done any research on this before. I didn't recognize that there was actually a study done in the 70s on what was called imposter phenomenon. And it was brought up because the researcher or the person who initiated the research noticed that there were women, specifically high achieving women that were in high positions and organizations, that constantly had these feelings of inadequacy and not being enough, right? Not just not being enough, but they kind of thought that the thing that they were doing, somehow they got there, it was just by luck, blind luck, and they shouldn't be in that position, and they were going to get found out any moment and get fired or get dropped from those positions. And this study was done in the 70s. And man, I was going through this research, and I was just fascinated by the number, not just the number of people, but the type of people who were admitting to suffering this phenomenon. I mean, some of us on here are saying, yeah, we've walked through this. All right. My people, Robert Wells, how you doing? Key Lewis, how you doing? All right. Toehammer, Chris. All right. I'm getting that wrong, but how are you doing this morning? Yeah. So a lot of people experience this. Yeah. Natalie's saying high achieving women experience this more than our male counterparts. Now, I got to be honest. The study was initiated by 4 high achieving women to study them. And the truth is that there are male counterparts or men who experience this as well. And I was surprised by some of the names on the list. You've got, of course, artists. You've heard of Michael Jackson experiencing that feeling, that fear, that imposter syndrome. You've heard of presidents. There was Albert Einstein once said he thought his research got way more attention than he thought it deserved. What? Albert Einstein. E equals MC squared. Albert Einstein. Right? Albert Einstein is revered in the scientific world as one of the most brilliant geniuses that ever lived. And he said he thought his research got way more attention than it deserved. Wow. So I'm going through this thing and I'm like, man, wow. Right? How many of us are experiencing this? And as I read through the article and I read through some other things, it was talking about some of the symptoms of imposter syndrome, how people know that they're experiencing this thing. And it included some things like number one, crediting luck or other reasons for any successes that you have. Right? Reason number one, or symptom number one of imposter syndrome is crediting luck or other reasons for any success that you have. I gotta admit, I am the president for an organization, right? It's a nonprofit or volunteer association, and I'm a president for one of the chapters. And there are times where they have events and meetings, and I come and they say, "Ladies and gentlemen, the president is here. We're so glad to have the president here." And I look around, I'm like, who are they talking about, right? Because there's a moment where I feel a little bit uncomfortable being vulnerable here. There's a moment where I feel a little bit uncomfortable, not just having the title applied to me, but being called out, because I don't always know if I'm doing a good job. Right? That's Robert admitting his truth here. How many of you feel like that? Yeah. Right? So symptom number one, crediting luck or other reasons for success. And here's some of the outgrowth of that. They're saying that when you credit luck or success, or if you're experiencing imposter syndrome, some of the responses or some of the outgrowth of this is it could hold you back from asking for a raise or applying for a promotion, because you think that you got to the space that you are by luck and you don't deserve anything else, right? Another outgrowth of this is it may make you feel like you have to overwork to achieve impossible standards while still not giving yourself credit for what you have achieved. Wow. All right, so that's symptom number one, crediting luck or other reasons for any successes. Symptom number two of imposter syndrome. Nah, Natalie's like, wow, yeah. Symptom number two, fear of being seen as a failure. Fear of being seen as a failure. And this is crazy, right? And when we don't want to be seen as a failure, we tend to hide when we mess up, or we don't speak up. I was speaking to my son about basketball some time ago. And one of the things that he shared to me, I was asking him about why he was nervous of being more assertive in the game. I was asking him about why he didn't drive to the basket more. And he said to me, he said he was afraid of being blocked. He was afraid of being blocked. He didn't want to be blocked. And when I asked him why he was afraid of being blocked, he said, well, because my friends are going to talk about it. They're going to get on my case. They're going to laugh at me. And I said, well, why do they do that? He said, well, we all do it. We all do it. We all cap on each other. We all talk about each other when something happens. If somebody falls or somebody break their ankles or somebody, breaking ankles, not really breaking, but basketball terms, for falling or crossing somebody over until they fall. So he said that's what they all do. I said, you do that as well? He said, yeah, we all do it. And then I asked him, what would happen if instead of pointing out the block, you all said, yo, dude, way to be assertive. Right? And he looked at me, right? And I just thought in my mind, and it came to me, it said, in my mind, I said, part of the reason we have a hard time outputting celebration is because our default input is criticism. We have a hard time celebrating each other and a hard time celebrating ourselves because our default is to look for the negative. Our default is to look for the fail. Our default is to look for the criticism inside of it instead of being able to see the celebration even in failure. Yeah, right. And here's the thing that I do as well. Here's the thing that I do as well sometimes. Um, Whenever I have accomplished something and people say, "Robert, that was amazing," I tend to downplay it. Still working on it. I tend to downplay it. And as I'm looking through this list of symptoms, again, from the Cleveland Clinic, symptoms of imposter syndrome, one of them is downplaying accomplishments, feeling of unworthy of attention or affection, holding back from reaching even attainable goals. That's the list. That's the list that they have. Right? So here's the thing that I want to leave with you all for this week. It would be easy for me to say, don't compare yourself to other people. Stop comparing yourself. Yeah, we shouldn't do that. That's not always an easy thing to stop, because we live in a world where stuff is being placed in front of us all the time as standards of beauty, standards of wealth, standards of family, standards of relationships, standards of how we should show up each day. Right? That's being shared with us, or that's being pushed on us through social media. So I'm not going to tell you, hey, it's easy. Just go stop comparing yourself to others. What I am going to say is I want to encourage you to do three things this week. As you think about imposter syndrome, as you think about self-worth, as you think about self-image, as you think about value for yourself, I want to encourage you to do three things this week. Number one is I want you to go to your calendar, right? Go to your phone, go to your calendar, and then create a celebration moment on that calendar. Schedule a celebration moment. Schedule a moment on your calendar, like a meeting, 9 a.m. on Thursday morning, 12:30 p.m. on Friday, 10 a.m. on Tuesday morning, whatever time it is. Schedule a moment on your calendar for celebration. And here's what I want you to do in that moment, right? Find at least one thing to celebrate. It doesn't matter how big it is or how small it is. Doesn't matter what it is. Okay? Find at least one thing that you have done that you can celebrate. I dressed really well this morning. Yes. I ate breakfast 2 days in a row. Yes. Right? I exercised 3 days in a row. Fantastic. I did 15 push-ups today. Fantastic. I got one of my buddies, my team members here, Saskali, just joining. And Saskali, one of the things I saw him on his Instagram that he's doing is doing at least 100 push-ups per day. Right? For the month of June, or whatever his length is. That's the goal that he's got for himself. Right? So you do your 100 push-ups and you celebrate them. You got your time on your calendar. You celebrate it. Yes, I did 100 today. I texted him or checked in with him yesterday, and he was at 139. Right? But even if he didn't reach his 100, he only got to 95, or he only got to 85. Okay? If you've got that time on your calendar to celebrate, celebrate. Celebrate. Add a celebration time to your calendar. If you can find a partner to help you with this, or a partner where you can both celebrate or schedule the celebration time, even better. Even better. Right? Get in the habit of celebrating you. Get in the habit of celebrating one thing in your space. Right? Get in the habit of celebrating. Get in the habit of focusing on something growth oriented. So that's your first action. Create a celebration moment on your calendar. Schedule a celebration moment on your calendar. So number two, celebrate at least one person every week outside of yourself. Celebrate at least one person every week. It could be somebody that you know. It could be somebody that you don't know. Celebrate at least one person every week. right? Associate of mine, Glenn Lundy, talks about his morning five or things that he does every morning. And one of the things that he does every morning as part of his routine, he's texts one person, sends an encouraging text to at least one person, right? And that's a form of this. That's a form of this. I want to encourage you to celebrate at least one person every other week. Send somebody, say, I see you. I saw you do this, and I want to celebrate this. I see that you have been consistent with posting. I see that you've been consistent with your diet. I see that you've been fantastic with your work and your projects. I see that you've been fantastic with showing up and smiling every day. It may be something simple, but celebrate at least one person every week for something. And then the third thing that I want to encourage you to do this week is I want you to put up a visual reminder of an achievement or celebration or accomplishment. There's a reason that some people have their college degrees in their room. Some people are showing off, right? But when you look at your degree, it's a moment in your life that you accomplished something. One of the things that I do in my business is I work with small business owners. And we were having a session the other day, and I was talking about not just celebration, I was talking about keeping focus, or we were talking about culture. And one of the things that I shared was when I grew up in New York, I would go into some of these stores, bodegas, and I would see on the wall in a frame a dollar bill. And what they did was they framed the first dollar that they'd ever made in that business. So if you can put up your first dollar in your office space, or if you can put up your first contract in your office space, you can put up your first client or picture of your first, whatever it is, put up a visual reminder of an achievement, a celebration, or an accomplishment. Put that up in your space. That's an action item that I want to challenge you or encourage you to do this week. Right? Put up a visual reminder of an achievement, celebration, or accomplishment. So I'll repeat the 3 actions for the week. Number 1, create a celebration moment on your calendar. Number 2, celebrate at least one person every week. And number 3, put up a visual reminder of an achievement, celebration, or accomplishment. You can do those things this week. You can do those things this week. And as you do those things, you become even more focused on celebration. You begin to create a celebration habit. I'll repeat what I said earlier. Number 1, what I said earlier when I was talking about my son's basketball example. I said part of the reason that we have a hard time with outputting celebration is because our default input is criticism. So if you do these actions, you create celebration moments, and you celebrate people, and you celebrate by putting up visual reminders, make your default input celebration. Make celebration your default input, and you'll see how it shifts your mindset, how it changes how you show up, how it changes your feelings, how it changes your emotions, how it changes your hormones, how it's going to make a difference. It's going to change you. Creating a habit of celebration is going to change you. It's going to change how you show up every single day, every single time. All right, listen, y'all. This has been the Monday Mindset Movement. Do me a favor. Show up. Celebrate. Today is Monday, and we want you to shift your mindset to a place of growth. But it doesn't just start and stop on Monday. We want to encourage you to take your Monday mindset into the next day, tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. Make a choice. Start a movement. Be a movement. Join me next week, Monday at 8 a.m. on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn for the next Monday Mindset Movement. Do your man a favor. Share the show with a friend. Invite somebody. If you believe that there's value, if you believe that there's inspiration, motivation, and elevation in this space, share it with some people. All right? So actually, let me point out one last thing before I go. I just wanted to point out the quote for today. Wanting to be someone else is a waste of the person that you are. See you next time on the Monday Mindset Movement. Peace.